If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It will help me a lot. And enjoy. First step is understanding your birds. Step 2, find your bird's strength. Step 3, comparing One Loft Race and Futurity. Step 4, selecting your young birds. So the reason why I'm sending the hi everyone, I see Love here at Invest Wide World. Today we're going to be talking about how to select One Loft Race and Futurities. Alright guys, here are 5 steps for selecting a One Loft Race or Futurity. First step is understanding your birds. Have birds for sending. If you don't have birds, you can't send them anyways. You won't be able to compete. So depending on what you have, it will help you make a decision. Look at your family of birds. What type of course have they flown? What have they done better at? Where have they done better at? What are their strengths and how are they built? If they're small to medium, they'll be more of a faster bird or a working race. If they're a bigger bird or medium to big, then I think they would do better in a tougher or harder course or races with more elevations and stuff like that. More than likely, birds that do good in certain places will do good in other similar places. For example, Florida and Texas are hot. Same goes for Cali. But then Florida might be more humid compared to Texas. But then they have about similar climate, similar temperature and stuff like that. So here are some examples of when you're making a decision. You have to look at your breeders first. Here is X20. He is a medium to big bird. He is down from Greek stuff, and Greek stuff have flown very good about anywhere, but they fly very good in tougher conditions, in tougher race. If you look at how this bird is built, this bird's tail isn't the best, but the vitality is there. It's crazy. This bird also has very soft feathers. And so this bird, kids would most likely do better in tougher conditions, a tougher race. So you have to understand your birds. Wherever this bird family have done good, then I would send there or send to similar places like that. All right, here is another example. Holy Grail Queen, my foundation hen. So she never flew or raced herself, but her kids and her full siblings have raced. So just looking from those results, I can tell where her family have done better and where I would send her kids. So her full siblings and half siblings have flown about almost everywhere. They have flown at Florida, they have flown at Hoosier, they have flown in Texas, they have flown in Cali, Minnesota. And so you kind of get an idea of what you have. And also this bird, Holy Grail Queen, she's more of a distance and tough bird. And they are pretty consistent too, so this bird can handle headwind or tailwind. They might not be able to handle a tougher course, like a lot of terrains, but if I cross her correctly, then it's possible that they can. Of course, it's always possible that her kids can do it too, but you want to have a higher chance, so you want to select for those type of things and look at one-off races that have similar things. That way you can make a decision to send from what pair. If you don't want to make a decision, you can go based off of your breeder. How good have she bred? How good have the pair bred? Has the kids flown good for others? Because that's a major thing in the sport. If it flies good for others, that means that it will do good for others. And if it only does good for you, then that doesn't show you many things. This bird, color girl queen, she is a deeper bird. Deeper birds are more of distance. They have maybe they have more energy because they'll have more guts and stuff inside of them, more body. And if they're light, then they can do either races. All right, guys. Step 2: find your bird's strength. Is it a speed bird, a tough bird, distance? Can they fly mountains, hot places, flat areas, stuff like that? So when I'm selecting a one-off race, I recommend new people to participate in a one-off race near them or not too far, as you'll save money. So you'll be able to go watch the final if you wish to. And not only that, if you get birds from local people around you, most likely those birds will do good in your local areas or around your state or country. The reason is because that family has flown the same or similar course as the one loft race around your area or like the state next to you. So you know the family can handle that course. And if that family has been flying that course for a long time, you know that that family has done it already. So most likely it will repeat that. When selecting a one-off race or fraternity, I consider where has this family done good at and what's their strength. An example would be if my birds of the family that has done good at Florida, I would send to One Loft Race or Futurity in Florida, or something similar to Florida. Are your birds tough, speed, distance, stamina, or are they all around? Most family of birds can do good in about anywhere, but some birds excel better in certain areas, climate, and under different care. If I have a bird that has a weaker tail, or the tail is up a little bit, and it's off from my best bird, then I would send that bird to a fast race. Because in a fast race or tailwind, they do not need to use their tail as much. And it's just something that I've noticed that birds with weaker tail or tails up, they can do good in a tougher race, but you wanna have a better chance at winning. So I would recommend sending them to a working race, to a fast race, or a race that is majority tailwind. You also have to think about if your birds do better as a young bird or older one or a yearling, because in one loft race we have different type of one loft race. And also in fertility, some fertility take birds early and some they take birds late still, because they can, because some states it snows and some state it doesn't snow, so it stays warm. So you have to consider that as well. Step 3: comparing one loft race and fertility. When selecting a one loft race, you must consider the speed, terrains, on how they manage the birds or their management, the prizes, and what type of race they are. Speed. Look at the speed of the race. Has your birds flown good in those type of speed? Example, some birds can fly good and tough race and fast race. From 1,300 yards per minute to 1,800 yards per minute, while some do a lot better and tougher race from 1,300 yards per minute under, and some do better at 1,500 yards per minute and up. A working race in my book is about 1,300 to 1,500 yards per minute. A working race is where the race isn't too hard or fast, so it's between. Terrains. Look at where your birds have flown or done good. Some may do better flying in tougher conditions, environments, and structures, while some do better at a flat or less elevation race. Some birds do good in cooler environment, while some might excel in hot or dry or humid environment or course. Management. How does the manager do their job? Are they working the birds? Do they lose a lot of birds? How are their returns? Decision makings. Do they make good decisions when they make decisions on if they should take the birds to train, if they should race on what day, and stuff like that? Do they lose a lot of birds? You have to keep that in mind that if you're sending a bird to a one loft race, you're trying not to lose your bird. And the one loft race or Futurity, they're giving you a service. They're taking care of your birds and raising them for you. So you have to consider that, because as a new racer or a new beginner, you will want to have the higher chance of having your bird stay there until activation and stay there until the final and finish the whole series. So that's an important thing to look at. Another thing is, are they caring for your birds? Are they going the extra miles taking care of your bird? Making sure that all of them are good, you know, making sure that all the birds there are healthy, training them good. Are they giving the best care they can for the birds? Are they giving them high quality stuff, or at least good food, good grit, and clean water? Are they taking care of the birds? That's what you want to know. A more experienced person may enter in a tougher course where many birds can go missing, but they know their birds and they know it's a tougher race. Some people, they like very tough race, some like a working race, and some like speed or fast race. You must also take into consideration that some birds just do good in different systems and some do good under anyone's care. So if my bird do good under a one loft race or someone managing them like a Futurity handler, I'll most likely send to the same place again, because I know my birds work under their system and my birds will do better under them. All right, price. This is a very important part. Price. When selecting a one loft race or Futurity, you want to consider the price. In Futurity, it's usually a one-time fee where you pay entry fee and your bird is set. Your bird just needs to train, goes to club races, and then the final is at the end. For one loft race, it can be a little different. There is some one loft race that you only pay during activation, which is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that people can afford it, and the loft manager have to work for the activation fee. So that means that they must train the birds good and keep the birds coming good. If they lose a lot of birds, then the activation fee, the overall price will go down. And also the price for people is cheaper and people can afford those type of race. The bad thing about this type of race is that what I have seen is people send birds, but they don't activate their birds, which sucks. You know, we can't do anything about it unless we know them and we tell them to pay. There is people who enter One Loft Race too, and they may not know English that well. So sometimes we just need to find someone who know them and get a hold of them so they can pay their fees. One Loft Race also charge entry fee or perk fee, and they also have an activation fee at the end. Me personally, I like how the management is because I'm paying for a service. I do not want to send my birds and pay for them to just get lost. That's that's my money that I work for. So I want to send my birds to a race where they can last until the final or activation. And I also want my birds to be cared for and have the best chance to make it. All right, another part is prizes. When selecting a one-off race or fraternity, I look at the prizes. How far does it pay out to? What is the payout positions? What's the lowest prize? And what is the highest? How have they pay out? How many equal first drop payout? And is the lowest payout at least paying for one bird? One bird that entered? Example, if I spent $500 to send a bird, I want that bird to win $500 or more. The lowest being $500 for the lowest price. The reason being is I want that bird to win the money to at least pay for that individual bird or win the money for sending the whole team. Lowest payout for me must be the same price of the activation and entry fee for me to consider if I want to send the birds there, because I don't want to just send a bird and it costs like $400, right, for one bird, and that one bird only wins $300. I'm losing more than what I'm putting into it because I'm feeding my young bird, right? I'm raising it up, shipping it there and shipping it back, and an entry fee and activation fee. So that's quite a bit. So at least the bird should win its money back for the race, the activation and the perch or entry fee. The only reason why I will send my birds to a race like that, usually they are the smaller races that don't pay out as much or as far down. But the reason why I would enter those type of race is if I really know what my birds can do and I know or I'm aiming for first place. Otherwise, anything under first or equal first, you don't really get anything much out of it. You're spending a lot of money. You have to keep the sport affordable for yourself. So at least enter in a race for new beginners, enter in a race that has a pretty good payout because you will have a more chance of hitting it and you will win some money back to help your hobby or sport, or you could call it a business or whatever. The last thing, what type of race is the One Loft Race or Futurity? Is it a young bird race or a yearling race? When do they accept birds and when is the deadline? That's a important part because some One Loft Race they accept birds early, all right? and they might only have like 2 months for you to accept birds. So these type of one-off race, you want to send them as early as you can or in the middle. At the end is a little okay too, but for races that have a long acceptance time, you want your birds to come in early and in the middle, because if they get a lot of birds, like the bigger races, if they get a lot of birds, the birds that come at the end, there's a good thing and a bad thing about it. The good thing is that those last birds might learn a lot from the older groups already. But one bad thing is that the loft manager or the birds might get lost because they're not getting as much work into them, depending on how the one loft race runs it. So example like Hoosier, you will want to send birds early because they race pretty early. But for Florida Derby, they accept birds kind of like in the middle, not as early as Hoosier, but a little bit after Hoosier, and they take birds pretty late until like June 30th. So it's okay for you to send birds to Florida Derby around that time, but since they have a lot of birds, the best decision is to send between early and middle and not at the end, because those birds will not they will not get a lot of attention, because Hoosier and Florida Derby, they have a big race. You want to make sure the birds have a chance. So it's just something that I would recommend, or things that I consider from my experience and talking to friends and stuff. Florida Derby, it's a little okay to send birds late because they don't start racing until like next year, and they're a yearling race. But I think a month earlier than the ending of the month, you'll do a little better because the bird will be older. They'll be on the programs and stuff already, while the birds that come at the end, they might not have as much time as the older groups. What you should also think about is the course for the race. Is there terrains? Is it hot, humid? Is it a fast race? Is it between a working race? Is it tough and fast? Is the place flat? Is there a lot of tailwind, headwind? How much time they have during race comes, how much time do they have to fly? The direction that they fly can also determine what type of race it will be. So some places like the coast areas, like the East Coast, South Coast, and West Coast, they might have different winds. Okay, I know in Cali, the wind goes from the east to the west, or west to the east. And then from New York and Rhode Island and stuff like that, the wind might be coming from the east. And then in Minnesota and Oklahoma, the wind might be going from south to north, And then down in Texas by the coast, the wind might be coming from the north down to the south. So it's different. You have to pay attention to those kind of things, and the wind and stuff, the direction they fly. If they're flying in east, and usually the wind is a south wind, then they'll most likely be flying a tougher race because they'll be getting a side or headwind. So here is an example of a bird that I sent back to the same course that her half siblings and her parents have flown. So her mother, this is one last bet. Her mother flew at Minnesota in the Purple Heart, same course as her, and her mother also scored pretty good, scoring 6th champion bird in the club. And her father also bred birds that flew the same course. So it only made sense for me to send her back to the same course. By doing that, you give yourself a higher chance because you know your birds can fly those courses or have done it already. So this bird scored 2 first place, 1 first place, and 1 equal first. And her mother flew in the same course. Her half brother, which bred Never Quit and Purple Sweetheart, is also down from her father. And then the mother to her half brother is also down from Minnesota, and they've flown that course. So I know that they've done good there, and I sent them there. And this bird scored 2x first, and it Never Quit's full sibling, Purple Sweetheart. She scored first section A, winning $3,500. And she also was in the top 10 3 times, top 20% 2 times. So that's how you select birds. Select birds for the course, you know. Now this bird, grandfather, I believe, also bred a good bird at South Africa. So that tells me that these birds can handle toughness, right? They can handle the heat and dryness, and they're fast birds. This bird won first place around the 200 miles, and then the two half knees flew very good too. So Never Quit, I flew her in at Cali, and her father Smiley is half sibling to my money winner at American Grand National in 2022 when they had their yearling race, and that bird placed 55th on the final. So I knew something was up. I knew that those family can handle it. These birds are down from my old hand called Velocity Queen. She is the grandmother to Purple Sweetheart and Never Quit. So they do pretty good. And also Velocity Queen's full sister is also breeding pretty good birds. Her full sister bred Eco First already at Cubis or Black and Gold, and also Eco First at Apple Cup. So that's telling me that down from that family, they can handle those type of race. I just need to find the right cross or test them there. But yeah, that's how you would look at how to make a decision based off of your breeders and your family of birds. I want to show you guys another example. This bird right here is off down from Lynn Super Warrior, and she is a double Miss Creator, a double granddaughter of Miss Creator. Her father is Super Warrior and her mother is Classic Girl, I believe. But what Len does, he sends the same family, okay, similar family from Miss Creator, and maybe the kids he cross it to something else that might have done good around or same place. But the point is, he sends his birds back to the same One Loft Race. This bird is a double granddaughter of Miss Creator. He sends them to Cali, and he wins there almost every year. Almost every year he wins at California Classic, and he just keeps doing that. The birds kind of have ugly flights because they're in cages, and I've been moving them around a little bit. So but she's molting, so it will grow out nicely afterwards. But this side is a little better. What I can tell from his birds though is they're very soft, very nice, strong tail, pretty okay vitality too. This is the same type of family, the same family as Spartan King and 451. So those birds have done good in a couple places now too. So, but these birds do good in Cali. So if I want to raise Cali, then I would send these kids off of these off to Cali. Maybe I'll cross it with Holy Grail's kids or stuff like that, you know, and then I'll send them to Cali. But yeah, you send birds to the course where they do better at. And Spartan King is also half sibling to 30th or 31st on the final at California Classic as well. So you can see that his family can do it. That's how you select birds for the course. You can go and buy birds that do good at the One Loft Race if you're looking to compete at that One Loft Race. That's a good idea too. And maybe get like another one from another person or get two from the same person and yeah, breed off of them. You'll have a better chance because their birds have flown that area many times. Or you can get someone local in the club around who flies super good. Those birds will compete as good in One Loft Race in your area as well. And they can even do good out of areas because if you think about it, a top fancier top bird around your area and they qualify for national results and awards. Those birds are very good to be able to do that because they're competing with so many different birds and they're going to different directions and stuff. And the national result is everyone in the USA flying club. So if you find a club member or someone local that have a bird that flew very high national levels, then you should get birds from them because that bird can race back home that good, and that means their kids can race back home that good too for One Loft Race. So if you were to think about that, let's say that top racer, okay, that bird has to fly back home against other birds that are flying to different places and their own its own teammates. So if it comes in first all the time for the person or pretty high up there and it also scores in national level, then that's a good bird to breed from or get babies from, and it will be able to compete in a one-off race because a one-off race is like it's like a person racing in a club, but those first birds are just their first bird. There might be another, let's say another one-off race. If there was two, right? One person might get birds before the other, so you gotta think like that. That's why I believe that club birds can win one-off race too, but it depends on how the person who raced the person club, how he races it. If he's using a lot of systems and a lot of different ways to motivate them and stuff like that, then it's not going to be kind of like a one-off race. You have more control over your own birds as a club racer. But if let's say you race them and you race them natural and you don't use any motivation or anything much and you run like kind of like a one-off race, you will be able to tell which bird or down from what pair is better. And a lot of people do that too. A lot of people, they fly their own birds and just test them, roaching them themselves. They don't even, some of them don't even fly in clubs, and they do that to test the birds. That is also something that I do too a little bit, but not as much anymore. Alright guys, step 4, selecting your young birds. This is a breeder. I want to show you guys an example of how the half siblings to the birds I'll be showing look like. This is a Holy Grail Queen's daughter. This one is a young breeding hen for me. She's molting her flights right now, so she has a few missing. Pretty nice tail. She has one finger length in between, and her vent is very tight. She's a nice bird as well. She has not proven herself yet, but this one looks a lot like the mother. It has kind of like the same eye as her mother as well. And she is soft, very soft, deep. I wouldn't say it's as deep as her mother, but pretty deep. And okay vitality. Vibrating wing. Alright, now here is Blue Phoenix. This is a direct son of Holy Grail Queen. This bird is a full sibling to my 50th on the final at Big Andy in 2021, 2022. That bird was also 11th average speed, and then the nestmate of that bird was also equal first on the 200 miles. This is a full sibling. I call him Blue Phoenix. See the wing? It is straight. Straight wing. Pretty straight tail as well. Pretty strong. Straight. The bird has between the keel and the vent, it's very close. You can't even put a finger in between it, and the vent bone is super tight. This bird feels very soft. Here is Never Quit. I believe that she will be Holy Grail Queen's next super breeder. Maybe her first super breeder. This hand is very nice. She has a super nice looking eye. She just looks very smart. She has a lot of vitality in her. And And not only that, she also raced herself, scoring top 10% 3 times, placing 30th on the final. Her tail, she does not like being handled. Her tail goes down. She has 1 finger length or shorter and super tight vents. Last 3 even. Very nice. Alright. Want to share with you guys my very honest opinion on my birds. This is a granddaughter of Holy Girl Queen. He is, or she is, off of Never Quit and X20. X20 I showed him in the beginning, and Never Quit is the third one that I showed. This bird I like its wing a lot. It looks pretty nice. Although the last 3 is not as long as I would want, but it's pretty even. This bird is a little bit older as well, as you can tell. A super soft feather. When you touch it, it feels very soft. It feels so soft. Yep. This bird looks around a lot, just like its mother, Never Quit. Very nice vitality. Has a pretty nice tail. It goes down a little bit. You can tell. So the vent to the queue is about 1 finger or like a little less, because I can feel both of them. And the vent is super tight. I think this one is more towards the mother side, towards Never Quit, because she is pretty deep. The eye, I graded a pretty good eye as well. It has a strong pearl eye, and I also see the adaptation and correlation in the eye. Also, she's very hard to catch. I think it might be a hen, but this is the full sibling to Big Boss that I sent. 26021. This would be my pick if I had to go with one bird. This would be one of them. Even though it's a granddaughter, but it feels like its mother. So usually when you pick a bird, you want it to feel like the parents, either one of them, whichever one is the winner. So the first bird that I showed, the young bird that I just showed you guys, that one will be going to Cuvis Classic, and as well as this one. This one is a half uncle to him, to that bird that I just showed, and also a half sibling, because this is off of Holy Girl Queen and X20. Overall, this bird is pretty nice. The wing is not too bad. I personally don't really like it, but the bird itself feels super nice, very soft. And the keel to the vent is 1 finger less. You can feel them both. When your finger is here, you can feel both of them. And very super tight vents. The tail is pretty straight. This bird is a little deep too. But I would say this bird feels more like the father. It has a super vitality. This bird, I grade this eye, a pretty decent one. It has the correlation and adaptation. But the eye color, it doesn't look to be as strong. This one is 26031. This one is pretty nice. I think this one is more of the mother side. It's deep and is a little longer from what I can see. The wing isn't too bad as well. The tail is straight. The vent, due to the vent is 1 finger length. I can feel both of them. The vent is pretty tight. It's tight. Yep, it's tight. This bird overall, I like it. It has a good character as well. And this one might be the only one with the orange eye, maybe. Overall, I would send this bird to a race. It would be one of my pick as well. See the vitality in this bird. It's just crazy. And this bird it looks like kind of like the mother. It's longer. So the reason why I'm sending the three that I just showed to Cuevas Classic is because they're a little bigger and a little deeper. And also they're my first batch off of Holy Grail and X20. So they're a little older and they should go to Cuevas Classic. Now this one is off of Never Quit as well. This one I like a lot. The wing, it's alright. It's kind of gappy like its mother when its mother was a young bird. But overall, it's pretty nice. The last three are pretty long. This bird has a very nice vitality as well. This bird is almost exactly like its mother. Very nice vitality. Here's the tail. It's pretty straight. This bird also feels pretty nice. It's deeper as well, but a smaller build. This bird is a smaller build. And it has a super eye, super bright, nice eye like its father. But I will pick this bird as well. This bird is pretty nice. 26035. But yeah, this bird's vent is super tight and it's small. I don't like to feel the big vent bones. I think a little medium to small would be nicer. And also I like to feel the gap between right here to feel kind of like a tension. Like it feels pretty strong. Your finger doesn't sink into it, you know. And it just like a strong skin right there. The blue check that I just showed, this one and the nestmate to this one will be going to BGR because BGR is a little faster race. Q race is a little tougher now since he changed course. So Q is tough and BGR is like fast to a working race. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's a working race. But this bird is the same as the first two that I showed earlier. direct Holy Grail Queen and X20. This bird, I like this bird a lot. This bird has a pretty nice wing. It's a smaller bird as well, a lot smaller. The vent, the key to the vent is one finger less. The vent bone is a little open, but I think it should be fine. This small bird feels very nice. It's not, it doesn't fly away that much when I catch it, but it still has a pretty nice vitality, as you can see. This bird is a calmer bird, in my opinion. This bird, I would grade it an okay eye as well. But so far, they've all had the adaptation and correlation that I can see. The blue check earlier eye is very nice, but this one's pretty nice too. Smaller bird. I feel like this bird might do good. This one is more of the father side, smaller hue. Over. Here's the next bird that will be going to BGR. One band is 26040. This one has the look that I would like. It has a very nice looking wing. Last three are almost even, pretty long. This one looks a lot like Blue Phoenix, even though it's not all from him. This is a half sibling. It looks super nice as well. The way it looks, it just has a look in it. But look doesn't really matter when racing. The keel bone is one finger length, and the vent is super tight. It's longer as well, and tail goes down a little bit. This bird is a lot like its mother, Holy Grail Queen. I think this would be one of my pick birds too if I had to pick. If I could only pick a few birds. They're pretty soft feathers, very nice. I grade the eye, and it has correlation and adaptation as well. This bird has a pearl eye. The eye doesn't look like it will be as strong as red, but I think it would be pretty nice. These three are going to BGR, Black Gold Race, because they are a little bit smaller and the way they're built is a little different. This one would be more like the mother, but I think this bird would do good there. It has a strong tail, very nice wing. And then the nestmate, it's smaller. It's more of the father's side. And the baby off of Never Quit is small as well. So I think they will do good at BGR. Alright, this one is 26050. This one is going to Texas Dash for Cash. The reason why I am sending my birds to Texas is because I've always wanted to try, and I haven't sent any yet. And these past 2 years, I haven't sent. So this year, I'm deciding to send more to Texas. But this is a pretty nice bird. Has a pretty nice wing. It's not done growing, but the tail isn't too bad. It's not too bad, you know. Pretty straight. It does go down when it's fighting. The eye, I would rate it not as nice. It doesn't look as bright, but it has the correlation and adaptation as well. The feather quality is pretty nice. It's not as nice as some of those over there, but it's still, after it molts, I think it will be nice. Off Holy Grail and X20, they got into a little fight. This one is a little bigger. It's more of the mother side, I would say. And Texas Dash for Cash can be a fast or a tough race too, so I think this medium-sized bird would do good there. Here's the nestmate. They'll be going to Texas Dash for Cash as well. This one is 26051. This one is alright. I like the wing a lot. Looks nice. But one problem with this bird is the vent to the queue is pretty gappy, but it's still growing. It's still young, so we'll see if it changes. The vent bone is pretty tight. Feather quality is pretty nice as well. But one thing I also don't like is the tail goes up a little bit. But I'm sending this bird anyways, as you can't tell if this bird can do good or not just from the body shape, because the mentality of the bird is what's important. This bird eye is also alright. Vitality is there. It's nice. This bird also has the adaptation and correlation. But this bird would be a bird that I would leave out if I had to really only pick a few birds. This bird would stay back. Cause the tail, but if it didn't have that, then it would be a pick as well. The wing is super nice. I like to see a wing that's straight, like this bird right here, straight. Not like curvy, like super curvy or anything like that, but just straight. Last three to be long, as even as possible. I want them to have space in between the eighth, ninth, and 10th. Super soft feathers, that's what you want to. This is how you would check vitality usually. Or if you're flying you, if you're catching them, they're flying away. Another smart trait is if they're looking around a lot. You see this bird doesn't really look around too much. You know, it's kind of not as cautious. I think a cautious bird will fly better because it will look around its surrounding more. Right, now I want to show you guys the younger sibling of off down from X20 and the Grove Point. So this bird, still pretty young, but it's a big bird. I think this one might be a cock, maybe. I'm not sure because the hens can be big too. This bird is still pretty young, but right away I can tell that the other sibling is nicer than this one. You feel it, and it's soft, but the other sibling feels way much more softer. It kind of has some rough edge around this bird. Um, at this young age, you can kind of feel the vent. This vent is pretty close. We're waiting for the link between the queue and the vent, but the queue is a little open, but not very open. But it's not a bad bird. Now I want to show you guys the other sibling. This one is very nice. It looks nice. It has very soft, silky feathers. At this age, as a baby, you can feel how nice they are. And it also holds its tail pretty nice, you can see. Pretty strong at a young age. Sometimes when you do this, like this, they'll fan out a little bit, but as long as they go down more, that's better. Because over time, they will grow it and it will become stronger. You know, it's just kind of like a workout. This bird is nice. I like this bird a lot. And also, it's a not a dark blue. I like the lighter blues. This bird is its wing is pretty nice, so hopefully it stays nice. But yeah, this bird feels smaller as well. A small or medium. A very nice bird here. This one and its nestmate will most likely be going to Florida Derby. Comment below what you like to see in your birds, or what you like to select for when sending a bird to a One Loft Race or Futurity, or if you do club, what do you see commonly in your winners and stuff like that. Please comment below what you think, and thank you. I want to say thank you for watching, and I appreciate it a lot for those who have subscribed and those who watch my videos. If you could leave a like and a comment, I would appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It will help me a lot. And thank you. Enjoy your day.